Libra, welcome to your weekly reading. Let's get started and see what messages we have for Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising positions for the week ahead. Keeping in mind that these are general readings and may not resonate for everyone, so make sure to check out your other placements. And if you're interested in a personal reading, there is information in the description below. You can just send me an email. All right, my friends, let's get started for Libra. Now, this is the Storyteller Oracle deck that I created, which always reveals very interesting messages as a story. So we shuffle, 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 let all the cards that want to come out, and then we find the beginning of the story. And let's see what messages you receive. Okay, let's just get the cards in order here. Okay. What is the first card in this story? Oh, thank you. Okay. So we see Bound and Shadow coming out for you, Libra. So looks to me like you're doing some shadow work this week and you feel very restricted. This is causing you to feel quite uncomfortable, but it's necessary. Whenever the shadow card appears, there is something in your experience that's trying to teach you something about yourself. And you may be feeling really uncomfortable and restricted by this because sometimes we see these lessons differently and we sort of think, why is that person treating me this way? Instead of asking ourselves, what is this experience teaching me about myself? We put our focus on the other person where we have no control. And when we have no control, our hands are tied and there's nothing we can do about it. And usually this leads to resentment or some kind of frustration with that other person, when really this is trying to teach you something about yourself, this shadow. And sometimes looking at our own shadows can be a little frightening. So we look for shortcuts. This shortcut card, you can see, there are no shortcuts. So you can wander as far into trying to figure out why that other person did something or why this experience is happening to you instead of what it's doing to teach you about yourself. What is the lesson here? There's no shortcuts. So this is very interesting to see. I am seeing shift. So this is going to be a shift for you, Libra. This is trying to teach you something about yourself that could cause a shift in your direction, your perception, your patterns of behavior, your patterns of thinking, your patterns of doing. It's interesting. That is a light switch. So this is bringing the shadow into the light so you can have a better look at it. When we can have a better look at it without judgment, without denial, we can really learn something about ourselves, Like sometimes someone's neglect to offer us something is actually teaching us to offer it to ourselves. So Libra, this is an important message for you. Yes, it's impacting your confidence, okay? Solar plexus chakra, your power center. You're not feeling empowered right now. You're feeling restricted. On some level, I think you know the only solution to this situation is compassion. And that, you need to be compassionate with yourself and perhaps whoever else is involved in this situation with you. Seeing that nest card tells me that you're needing to look at this from a different perspective. You're needing to sort of integrate this lesson within as opposed to hiding the truth from yourself. You could be sort of in a place of willful blindness where you're not looking at something in a way that will help you understand yourself. You could just be looking at it from the perspective of like, why are they like that? Instead of saying, why am I having this feeling? What is this moment teaching me about myself is the main question, okay? So let's jump into the tarot cards. I'm just going to move these up so I can see them, but that we can also look at the tarot cards to see what potential lesson is trying to be brought to the surface for you here. And it feels like it's going to have an impact on your level of confidence, and your sort of personal power center needs this. And notice the silent card. So you're not speaking about this necessarily. You might want to discuss this even just with yourself. You know, when I see that nest card, this is almost like you need to have a talking to with yourself. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw similar energy in the tarot cards. Look at that. As I say that you need to have a talk with yourself, we see third eye. So you're receiving guidance through your intuition, right? Your other senses are coming online to try to teach you something, and you need to see it for what it is. So bring it out of the dark and into the light so you can have a better look at it, right? All right, let's see what the tarot cards will reveal to us to sort of expand on this. Look at that. Ace of Swords and the Three of Swords. This is very interesting. Kind of makes me think like there's a truth here about something, just like we're saying here. And it could involve something separating. And it might be a really necessary separation that leads to a transformation. There's the Death card peeking out, see? So something here needs transformation. You may need to separate yourself from something, and you could be silent about it because you're yeah, it's interesting here. There are no shortcuts when it comes to shadow work, but there is, you know, free will. You can choose not to look at something, but it really feels like it's a necessary separation when I see this Three of Swords. Let's see for Libra. What is this shadow work taking them into? Okay, so you might be feeling out of balance, very impatient, frustrated, not trusting the timing of something, feeling almost sometimes when temperance comes up in reverse, I feel like there is resentment, there's conflict, there's ego battles, there's almost passive aggressive behavior here where we're maybe not saying what we feel and we're not really communicating our needs because we feel insecure and we don't have confidence, but it could be coming across as passive aggressive. It could be coming across as, you know, battles of ego here and sort of creating resentment and conflict. Frankly, there's conflict here. Libra, yeah, there's look at that. These two cards are back. Isn't that interesting? I love when that happens. It's so interesting. So something really needs to transform. There could be a very sudden shift in something. We have shift, we have the Death card, we have the Three of Swords. So something could really be shifting away from an illusion. It could also be revealing the illusion. And I feel like what you need right now, Libra, is to be grounded. You need to start grounding yourself, really self-care. The Queen of Pentacles is more an energy of self-care than caring for others when it's in reverse. When the Queen of Pentacles is in reverse, it's time to really put your focus on yourself. This is telling me that there is shadow work indeed that needs to come to the surface here. There is a narrative here that you need to start looking at. Instead of convincing yourself it's their fault, it's their fault, it's their fault. It's like not to say it's your fault, but to just be like, what is this situation teaching me? As opposed to, why is this other person behaving this way? That's not the question that's going to solve this for you. It seems to me like the question that's really going to help you understand what's going on here is, what is this experience teaching me about myself? Bottom of the deck is a Seven of Wands, so you're super defensive. This is, again, that energy of being in conflict, feeling passive aggressive, making choices to look at things from a lens that isn't helpful necessarily to solve the problem, and being really defensive. So you're defending yourself in conflict instead of looking at the conflict to be like, hey, wait a minute, what is this actually teaching me about myself and about the situation that I'm in and about how I'm reacting to this? Because that's all you really have control over, is how you respond to things. Remember, the first card in your oracle deck here is bound, where something's out of your control. And you're really feeling quite defensive about how to proceed. But it's interesting. The trigger of feeling defensive is causing the reaction and response that may be sort of passive aggressive or impatient or resentment based. And, it's not serving you. It's not. The Queen of Pentacles in reverse tells me that you're needing self-care. You're needing to really look after yourself right now, Libra, and to bring that sense of wholeness back to yourself, that sense of grounding, that sense of, feeling like you're not, not so out of balance. Something here is really out of balance when I see the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. You're not fully connected to yourself, but your focus is on yourself, but in a way of like, why me? Sometimes the Queen of Pentacles in reverse to me is like being in a place where we feel like a victim, where we feel like we're being victimized by someone. So then we develop resentments instead of asking ourselves the really important question of like, what is this teaching me about myself? I know I keep saying that, but that's what comes through when I'm looking at your cards, is that blaming, the blame game isn't going to serve. The resentment and passive aggressive, that's not going to serve. You almost need to really tap into that question of like, if I wasn't taking this so personally, right? If I wasn't taking this really personally, what would this be teaching me about myself? And I have a feeling it has something to do with communication, confidence, and compassion. Those three elements are really coming through strongly for you, and that something has hurt your feelings. You have taken someone's words very personally. And instead of understanding what this is trying to teach you, all you're focused on is how you feel attacked. And so, of course, you become defensive, which is this energy. And seeing the Ten of Pentacles beneath that tells me, in reverse here, it tells me that this is something to do with money, something to do with family, something to do with a very significant relationship. This is hitting home. This is hitting very close to home. So take it as it resonates, my friends, but you may have taken something personal that's not personal. It's just some way coming through that way. And I feel like it's creating a why me, defensive, passive aggressive sort of response, reaction. Now let's clarify some of this for Libra. Let's start with this first pile here. Seeing the Ace of Wands in reverse. So feeling really pessimistic about the outcomes. Knight of Cups, needing to be honest about your feelings. Needing to wear your heart on your sleeve a bit here, Libra, being vulnerable. And you're probably like, be vulnerable with this energy? No thanks. But that's exactly what you need. That's where that compassion and forgiveness come in. That's where releasing resentments come in. And there's the Knight of Wands. Confidence. This could bring back your confidence. You're feeling so pessimistic about something transforming, and really you need to sort of focus on how to regain that confidence within yourself. And this Knight of Swords in reverse tells me that there could be a big shift that's moving quickly. Look at that. You got 3 knights. You've got movement here, Libra. You've got movement of the emotions, movement of will, and movement in terms of your movement, like moving quickly towards healing is coming through, moving quickly towards reestablishing the grounding within and seeing things from a different perspective. Hanged Man. So that's on the bottom of the deck. So really needing to see things from a different perspective this week. The main question to ask yourself is, if I wasn't taking this so personally, what would this experience be teaching me about myself? I'm going to leave it at that for you, Libra. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope this has been helpful, and I look forward to reading for you again soon, my friends, and I'm sending you so much love. Take care.